happened? I can't see anything. Why is it so dark suddenly out here? Who is this? Moving from my right to left. He again, from left to right. Where are the lights? What are these strange sounds? Imagine a world around us where we cannot perceive things through our eyes, either because we are born blind or visually impaired due to disease or midlife accident. Our sight accounts for 70% of our sense of the world around us. A birth defect or when midlife crisis like an accident divides us of this vital perceptive mode. Does it mean that life ends there?
Definitely not. There are many aids which could help them to become mobile and make them independent,
as well as living the life with confidence. The three popular aids are sighted guide, that is guidance by a person with sight, guide dogs, long cane technique. Understanding few terms is important before learning about these aids. Orientation. Orientation is the ability to locate oneself in one's environment through the process of utilizing the other senses to understand the position and relationship of all the significant objects in the surroundings. Mobility. The mobility to move within one's environment. Now let us explore the sighted guide aid. Walking with sighted person involves training both the blind person and the person with sight. Using the sighted person as an aid, the blind person can easily and safely enjoy his or her mobility. Let us understand the process in steps. Contact. The person who wants to guide the blind person stands besides, facing in the same direction, and touches the back side of the blind person's hand behind the palm. Either right hand or left hand could be used, depending on whether we want the blind person to the right or left. Holding. Blind person follows up the guide's arm till he finds the elbow and holds the hand just above the elbow. The thumb is on the outside and fingers curved inside. Grip should not be too loose or too tight. This type of holding above the elbow with right grip allows the blind person to follow the movement of the guide. Position. Blind person should hold his arm close to his body to avoid veering or swinging while walking. He should be half a step behind the guide with shoulder directly in line with the sighted guide. The guide can talk to the blind person, explaining things of interest in the environment while they are walking. Let's understand some special conditions. Passing through narrow space. As they approach a narrow space, preventing both of them to cross together, the guide signals the blind person by fully pushing his arm behind across his body. The blind person responds by extending his arm and moving sideways full step behind the guide. After passing through the narrow space, they return back to the normal position. Going upstairs. The guide stops just before the stairs and tells the blind person that they are at the bottom of the stairs and whether there is railings. As the guide takes the first step, he pauses so that the blind person touches the edge of the stairs to know the exact location. Blind person follows the guide up the stairs as in normal walk, and the guide should not stop for the blind person. Both of them should shift their weight by bending forward for balance. Going downstairs. The guide stops just before the top of the stairs and tells the blind person that they are at the top of the stairs and whether there is railings. The blind person may feel comfortable walking down holding the railings. As the guide steps down the first step, the blind person takes half a step forward until his toes meet the edge of the step to know the exact location of the steps. Blind person follows the guide down the stairs as in normal walk, and the guide should not stop for the blind person. Both of them should shift their weight by bending backward for balance. Seating techniques. Approaching a chair from front, the guide brings the blind person in front of the chair and places the blind person's hand on the back of the chair so that the person has a factual position. The blind person, using his free hand, feels the seat and ensures that there are no foreign objects on top. The blind person, still holding the back of the chair, moves his leg in front of the chair till the back of his legs touch the chair and sits down. Holding the back of the chair ensures that the chair does not move while sitting. Approaching a chair from behind, the guide leads the blind person to the back of the chair and places the person's hand on the back of the chair. The blind person, using his free hand, follows the back of the chair down to the seat. He feels the seat and ensures that there are no foreign objects on top. The blind person, still holding the back of the chair, moves to the front of the chair and turns around so that his legs are in front of the chair till the back of his legs touch the chair and sits down. Holding the back of the chair ensures that the chair does not move while sitting. Sitting at the table. The blind person pulls the chair away from the table before sitting on the chair. After sitting down, the blind person checks to make sure that he is sitting parallel to the table by placing both hands on the edge of the table and moving them slightly to the left and right. Guide dog aid. Dogs are trained to guide blind persons similar to sighted guides. Even the blind person is trained to use the guide dog. Dogs are trained for things like lead the blind person in a straight line from, say, point A to B. Stopping at all changes in elevation, including curbs and stairs. Stopping for overhead obstacles such as tree limbs and avoiding obstacles in their path. But dogs cannot be trained for things like determine the route to a new destination or read traffic signals. Independent aid. Using a cane. Using a cane makes the blind person completely independent, but the person needs to get oriented with his surroundings. Canes come in different shapes and made of different materials like aluminum, wood, or rattan. Good to start the learning process with straight rattan piece and then maybe later with a rubber grip. The correct length of the cane would be 1 up to the chest height. Cane holding. The correct way to hold the cane is to place the thumb at the top of the cane, index finger pointed forward and held against the side, and the other fingers wrapped around the underside of the cane. Hand should be at the center or midline of the body, arm reaching out in front of the shirt buttons or belt buckle, with cane pointing straight ahead, resulting in a straight line from the tip of the shoulder to the tip of the cane, side to side. The swing acts as a protecting arc and shields the person as he or she moves forward. The cane tip should not be lifted more than 2 inches above the ground. The only movement required to make the arc is bending the wrist from left to right. The opposite leg should be forward when moving the cane to right or left. Cane tapping. While walking, the tip of the cane lightly taps the ground in front, used to explore the ground in front, not for listening the sound of the cane. The information is gathered by tapping the tip lightly, not by banging against the ground. Functions of cane. Cane prevents the blind person from bumping into objects found in the pathway like bicycles, animals, trees, lamp, and telephone posts. Gives information about the type of the surface on the ground in front of the person, which is directly in the line of travel. Follow or trail along flat-edged surface like a shoreline at the side of the roadways, buildings, etc., by making sure that each time the cane moves to that side, it touches the flat surface. Importance of orientation. Orientation is the main ingredient for attaining mobility by a blind person. It means learning about the environment in which the blind person moves by means of knowing where the person is, knowing where the person wants to go, knowing how to get there. There are many things in the environment that can be used to help the person travel where they want to go. Example, significant landmarks like schools, marketplaces, church or temples, etc. Senses like smells at marketplaces, sound of prayers could be used to identify various routes. Sun position is often useful for finding directions for orientation. The sun is in the east in the morning and in the afternoon in the west. Feeling the sun on the back in the morning, it would mean the person is walking towards west. Feeling the sun on the face in the morning would mean moving towards east. Same can be used by feeling the sun on the left or right side of the face for north and south directions. We have seen how we, persons blessed with sight by God, can help blind persons, our kith and kin at home, as well as strangers in public with little training and awareness. Let us make a difference in the lives of others by sponsoring their trainings and at the onset learning these small techniques ourselves.
We could also pledge to donate our eyes to make their lives brighter.